Welcome to my little island where the air smells like sea and my kitchen smells like sourdough. Today, we're making an easy gluten-free sourdough bread that actually works. No complicated ingredients, no scale, just simple gluten-free all-purpose flour. I've been cooking gluten-free since 2008, and I know how hard it is to find simple recipes that actually taste good. This one's a favorite in my home, and I'm so excited to share it with you. In my last video, we went over how to make a gluten-free sourdough starter. You will need a starter for this recipe, so if you do not have one, go back and watch my previous video and it will go over how to make this beautiful, beautiful gluten-free sourdough starter. It's got everything in the video. Also, I have a one-page checklist and daily guide that's available down in the description below. It goes through everything day by day, tells you exactly what you need to do, and it's all you need. All right, so let's get going with this delicious gluten-free sourdough loaf. I've got everything that we need behind me on the table, so let's go through all the ingredients first. First off, obviously, your gluten-free sourdough starter. Next, we have gluten-free all-purpose flour. I use this. You can get these great big bags from Costco online. Next is salt. I use pink Himalayan. Yeah, this one's from Costco too. Also, honey. This is local to me. You're gonna need some psyllium husk. This is really important. It's basically what will give that texture to the bread as if there was gluten in it, but there is not. You can get this on Amazon and I'll link it below. Olive oil. A mixing bowl. How pretty is this? A Dutch oven. I prefer to use the small one because I feel like it helps encourage the loaf to move upwards and rise, but you can use any size. I have Bantam basket here. I got this on Amazon, as well as the hook, the dough hook, or the dough spatula. I don't think it's like a Swedish dough spatula, but it works really good. They knew what they were doing. And this is a blade that's used to score the sourdough loaf. Of course, you don't absolutely have to have one of these. You can just use the bowl that you mix it in and just make sure that there's lots of flour on the bottom or olive oil, and it will be just fine. And you don't need this either. You can use whatever. Use your hands, use a fork, use whatever. It'll be fine. And obviously, instead of this razor, you can use a sharp knife. Not a big deal. All right, now you know what you need, so let's get baking. First things first, we need to mix up the psyllium gel. So we take that psyllium husk and mix it up with some warm water and it will form a gel-like consistency. So you're gonna wanna leave this psyllium gel out to set for like 10 minutes. So let's do it. It's much later and I was reviewing my footage and I didn't film the part of making the psyllium gel, which is a pretty important part. So I'm gonna do that right now and just put it in where it belongs. All right, so we're gonna start with 1 cup of warm water in a bowl. 1 cup of warm water. And we're gonna do 3 tablespoons of the psyllium husk. 1, 2, 3. And you're gonna stir that up really good. It's liquidy now, but it's soon gonna be pretty jelly. While this is thickening, move on to the dry ingredients. For our dry ingredients, we need 2 cups of flour. 1. Oh. Oops. And then a teaspoon of salt. Where's my salt? Teaspoon of salt. Give that a little mixy mix. Okay, our psyllium gel has now been setting for 10-ish minutes and it's nice and thick. So now we're gonna add the olive oil and the honey. You can also use maple syrup, but I've got honey today, so I'm using honey. We are gonna do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. All right, now we are adding the honey and we are doing 1 tablespoon of honey. And a little more because I like it just a little bit sweet. It's really thick. That is what you want. Okay, now for the best part, the sourdough starter. We are gonna add 1 cup of this beautifully bubbly starter. I'm gonna mix it so I actually get a cup in here. If you leave it airy and bubbly, that's gonna account for some of the space in your measuring cup. I am pouring it into my 1 cupper down here. Perfect. All right, I have my dry ingredients here, which is just the flour and the salt, and I'm going to put this mixture of the psyllium husk gel, the olive oil, and the honey, and the sourdough starter in here. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna add just like a tablespoon of water. There, that's just what we needed. It's really hot in here and now I'm sweating. Okay, this is our final dough. So what you're gonna do now is you are going to cover this with something. It can be saran wrap over the top. It can be a damp dishcloth. And we are going to set it somewhere not too cold for about 30 minutes. And that is just gonna make sure that all the flour has been absorbed into the liquid. And then we're gonna knead it again. You know, I shouldn't really say knead because we're more shaping it into a ball, because you don't need to knead gluten-free sourdough bread because there's no gluten in it. So the reason that you need regular sourdough is to develop the gluten, and there ain't no gluten in here. So we're just gonna shape it into a nice pretty ball and then go on to the next step. All right, this has been sitting for half an hour, so now it is ready for you to knead into a nice little ball. So let's do it. Ready for the next step, which is to flour your banneton or oil your bowl, and you're gonna put the best side down into the bowl, and you're gonna let that sit covered with a damp cloth or saran wrap, and then you're gonna let that sit for 2 hours. All right, now this is formed into a nice ball. It's sitting in my banneton. If you don't have one of these, again, you can just use a regular bowl. Just make sure there's lots of flour or a layer of olive oil so that it doesn't stick. So what I like to do now to make sure that the top doesn't dry out is you're going to cover it with a piece of saran wrap and then put it into a bag and tie it up. And then you're gonna set this onto the counter for 2 hours. All right, this is set on the counter for 2 hours now. And what you're gonna do now is you're gonna throw it into the fridge until the morning. It doesn't matter if it's been in there 10 hours, 12 hours. I've even done 16 hours and it still tasted great. The longer you leave it, the more sour it's going to taste, but I personally really like that. So I'm gonna throw this into my refrigerator until first thing in the morning. Loaf of sourdough out of the refrigerator at about 7:30. It has been 2 hours now. So now I'm going to preheat my oven to 500 degrees. I'm gonna do that with my Dutch oven inside so that gets nice and hot. And I'm gonna make sure that it is in there at full heat, at full 500 for 30 minutes. While it's in there for the half an hour, that is when you can take the loaf out of the bag and the banneton and score it and get it on the parchment paper and ready to be placed into the Dutch oven. once you put that into the oven with the cover on the Dutch oven, you're going to immediately reduce the heat from 500 down to 450. And then you are going to put a timer on for 45 minutes. After the 45 minutes, you are going to remove the lid from the Dutch oven and keep it in at 450 for 20 minutes, and then it's done. All right, back in for 20 minutes uncovered. So pretty. All right, we're immediately going to take it out and put it on the cooling rack. Look at how beautiful. So pretty. Now, this is the hardest part. You have to let it set, let it cool for like 4 hours, at least 4 hours, and then you can cut it. If you cut it too soon, it could end up gummy. So be patient because it'll be worth it. All right, here's my loaf. It is nice and cool, and it actually is cut, even though you can't tell. So we will do an inside review. This is gonna make some really, really yummy toast. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it. If you do, let me know how it turned out. And I will see you in the next one.